All right, so I was just answering some comments on some of the videos, and there was kind of the same question coming up in different forms, and it's a really valuable question to answer. So I thought I'd make a video because I think it's something that will be helpful to respond to for a lot of people. So what the question was essentially was, what do I do about the bad thoughts? Or sometimes we don't even realize it's about thoughts itself. It's like, what do I do if I'm trying to do the acceptance work and something comes up that I need to change, or something comes up saying, well, I don't want to accept this because what if that means it's going to be this way forever? Or again, it can be the content of the thought can be different for different people, and it will be, but it's the same thing that's happening. So the question is, what do you do about that? Do you try to change the thoughts? Do you need to fix it? What do you do? And this is really the key to the whole process, the whole recovery. This is what's key. So let's unpack this a bit. So the first important step is to realize that it is a thought. Often we're not even, like, this can be a big step to realize that it's just a thought. So like step one. So whatever the thought is, for somebody, it's, what if I'm never going to be able to do this again, or I am never going to be able to do this again. I'm going to be like this forever, or I keep getting sick, or what if I'm never going to recover, or what if it's going to be like this forever? Literally, it will take on many different forms. So step one, okay, that's a thought. I don't have to believe that thought, but it's coming up. There's some work to do here, and this is where we do the work. So okay, it's a thought, and then often it's about, what do I do about this thought? I must do some positive thinking, so I don't get stuck in these negative thought loops or whatever. But what that's actually happening there is the thought sticking around, because for maybe kind of two reasons here. Because we're resisting it, and we're kind of often then there's another thought, but we're not seeing that thought because that's where we're seeing from. So there's a thought saying, okay, what if it's going to stay like this forever? And then there's a thought saying, okay, that's bad. I must do something about this. I need to do something. I need to do something to get rid of that thought. It mustn't be here. But that's another thought. But it's kind of pushing against the other thought, and it's keeping it there. So that's one part of it. But what's actually going on is that thought is bringing up something uncomfortable that we don't want to feel, and that's why we were reacting to it. So that's why the content of the thought doesn't really matter. It can be helpful to lead us to where we need to inquire, to what to bring up the stuff we need to work through. But then the reason the thought is there is because it's bringing up something uncomfortable that we don't want to feel. And we often don't even realize this, because if we're always in the thoughts without even realizing we're in the thoughts, the next thought comes as a reaction to what that thought brings up. So I'm afraid I'm never going to recover brings up something uncomfortable for us, and often there's an immediate reaction unconsciously to what that brings up. So that's really uncomfortable. I need to do something to get rid of that. But we're saying that in response to the thought without even realizing that that thought is kind of, it's just the label on top. It's just the tag for what's actually here. And we think we're reacting to the thought, but we're actually reacting to what's coming up in the body. The emotion that it brings up, and we can go even a layer deeper. The reason the emotion is uncomfortable is just in the end sensation that it brings up. So the process of what to do here is, it's actually whatever your trigger thought is, if it keeps coming up, that's where to go. And then when it comes up, that's your opportunity. It's bringing up what you need to feel. So instead of what do I do to get rid of this, do I need to do some brain retraining or positive thinking or change my beliefs? It's very simple. It's just about feeling what you don't want to feel. It's the last thing we want to do, because that's the reason all the thoughts are coming and all the different approaches are being searched for, because it's all ways of avoiding what that thought is bringing up. But that's the only reason it's a problem, is because we're avoiding what it's bringing up. So once we're able to, we realize that that's the way through. And trust me, it's scary and uncomfortable initially to feel what's coming up. But it's once you actually go deeper and deeper and just really are willing to feel what you don't want to feel, it's the greatest relief, because it was all just the fighting against what was there and the beliefs that I shouldn't feel this that was so uncomfortable, because that's going to keep on coming up. And the more we fight it and be like, I mustn't feel this, even unconsciously, it's so uncomfortable because we can't really get rid of it. It's kind of there, and now we're saying it mustn't be there, and that's what's uncomfortable. But we don't see it like that at first. So yeah, that's your chance. And just even the smallest change of being able to stay with that uncomfortableness for a little bit, it's starting to make a big change. Like, next time it happens, you'll be able to stay with it for a little bit longer and a little bit longer. And that is what's key here. So whatever it is that it brings up, so just to run through it, you're noticing a thought, or you're going about your day, and then the thought comes up, and then our natural reaction is, oh no, this is bad. I was doing so well, now I'm having these scary thoughts. I must focus on, I can recover, whatever. And then oh no, okay, this thought, that's fighting the thought. The thought is here, but what's actually here that I don't want to feel? So now we do some inquiry. What's actually, so you can actually instead of trying to get rid of that thought, we're going to use that thought to help us dig in, to help bring up what needs to come up. So it's funny, it's actually, you're going to be like, okay, what if I am never going to recover? What if, and this is not some like affirmation type of thing, I'm never going to recover, I'm never going to recover. That's not what we're doing. We're using it as like a tool to bring out the stuff that we don't want to feel. So, okay, I'm afraid of the thought saying, I'm never going to be able to do this again, or it's going to be like this way forever. Okay, what if it's going to be like this way forever? How does that make me feel? Why is that a problem? And it's not about thoughts like, oh, obviously that's a problem because I can't do this and this and this. That's not what we're doing here. It's a problem because it makes me feel uncomfortable here. So again, it's not about intellectual answers and answering the thoughts with thoughts. We're really just using the thoughts to bring up and then go into the sensation. And then it's very simple work. As I said, it's all just about, can you just stay with that feeling without reacting to it? And if you start reacting to it, and often you won't notice you're reacting to it, what it will feel like is you'll suddenly notice you're lost in the thoughts again. And it will often be thoughts saying, this is so uncomfortable, I can't stay here. Oh my gosh, if I stay here one more second, I'm going to die. This is overwhelming. Like, the more we stay with these uncomfortable sensations, the more the thoughts will kind of get ramped up and get more extreme, because the initial thoughts are not working, and now we're really starting to feel into this. So the mind's going to kind of get ramped up a bit. So just to it will get easier the more you do this, and you just keep noticing that that's still a thought. It's just a reaction to the sensation, and the sensation itself isn't saying that. So there can be a really intense sensation, and it can be uncomfortable and whatever, but again, when the thoughts are saying, this is too intense, I'm overwhelmed, I can't feel this, that's the reaction to the sensation. So what we're really trying to do is just to be able to feel the sensation itself. So it's fine. We're going to initially bounce back into the head quite quickly, maybe, depending on how much of this kind of stuff you've done before. So then you just try to stay there. Okay, that's thoughts, but I can actually stay here a little bit longer. Like the sensation's uncomfortable, but my reaction to it doesn't change it at all. Like the sensation's there, and then I can be like, oh my gosh, this is unbearable. I can't feel this, but you're actually busy feeling it in that moment. But you're making it more uncomfortable by reacting to it. But it's not a conscious decision. That's what we're working at undoing here, is that conditioned response to the uncomfortable sensations. So key is just keep coming back to that. Whenever those thoughts come up, and it can come up in the form of emotion, whatever is triggering you, always just come back to the sensation. What don't I want to feel? And can I sit with that? And can I sit with that for a minute? And then next time it comes up, it will start to bring up something uncomfortable, and we're already retraining how we respond to that. Whereas we'll initially start reacting, oh no, I can feel into this a little bit. I mean, I was always so afraid of feeling this, but I felt it last time a little bit, and now I can sit with it for longer. And it eventually starts to kind of dissolve, because it's only there because we've been pushing it down, so it can't go away really. And that's just the key. Just keep coming back to that. So yeah, just keep feeling in, and just realize that it has such like even just that willingness to feel in for a little bit, but keep coming back. And the more you can do it, it really compounds and kind of starts turning things in the other direction. And that's really the key here. So as tough as it might be, it's uncomfortable. It's generally the last place you want to go, because that's why we're doing all the distractions and looking for all the other routes out, because we'll want to rather do anything than feel what's there. But the crazy thing is, all we ever needed to do was feel what's there. And once we actually feel it, it's like, oh my gosh, why was I fighting this? But we were. So just keep coming back to it, and it gets easier and easier. And more stuff will come up. You'll think, okay, I've worked through that. And then all of a sudden, some really intense stuff comes up. And it's kind of, there's so much stuff there that needs to be processed, that once we start working through it, there'll be relief for some time, and then something else will come up, and it's important work. So yeah, I hope that's helpful, and yeah, good luck with the work. It's tough, but it's where you need to go, and it's so rewarding. It's such a change. So yeah, good luck.